I had no idea about what Korea culture or Korean pop culture was at all. Hello, my name is Marlon Aleister, and I have been living in Korea for almost 4 years now. And I want to talk about why I came to Korea and I never ever think I'm ever going to go back to America. I have no sort of even plans to go on vacation or to visit at all, and I want to talk about why and how this came to be that I'm living here in Korea. And I have a lot of questions, even from people in real life, from people that I know here in Korea, from people back home, from family, from people online, a whole variety of different people that ask me questions about why are you living in Korea? Why Korea? Why, of all places in the world, Korea? And today I want to talk about that. I want people that come here and look at my videos in the future or my past videos, I want them to be able to watch this video and see this is why, who he is and why he's where he is, what he's doing, and blah, blah, blah. So when I was very young, I wanted to move to Japan. When I was maybe like 7 or 8 years old, I would watch shows like Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon. And of course, I mean, a lot of children did at the time, but I had access to the internet and I wanted to see where these shows came from. And I saw pictures of Tokyo, and I grew up in a very, very small area of Texas, the very, very bottom of Texas, and there is no buildings that are above 3 stories there. There is no lights, no kind of exciting things. You have to go by car everywhere you want to go. And Japan was the complete opposite of that. And so I really wanted to at least go on vacation there, but I wanted to live there. So I would watch tons of videos about Japan. I never really watched any anime. I never really got too interested into Japanese history and stuff like that. But I just loved the architecture. I loved the language. I loved a lot of the things that were going on in Japan. And so that's what I wanted to do when I was a really young child. So when I was really, really young, I wanted to move to Japan for a lot of different reasons. When I first started looking into it, I just saw the glitz and the glamour and I wanted to move to Japan because, I mean, I thought it would be really cool. But I would speak to my parents about these things and it was always kind of, that's never going to happen. These things are really far away. I didn't really have a close relationship with my parents or my family in general. So that's another reason why it became so easy for me to move to Korea. I'll talk about that later. So as I continued to grow up, I would move on to different places that I wanted to move to, but I didn't want to stay in Texas. I always wanted to move outside, whether it be New York, I wanted to move to New York, or whether it be Berlin, whether it be Chicago, whatever it is, I wanted to move to a big city because there was so much that I felt like I could connect myself to in a big city, whereas in a small town that I was living in, there was no community, there was no accessibility, there was so much that I felt like I was missing. Even when I was very young, I had these feelings and I wanted to go out and see the world, but I was a little boy from a poor family of immigrants, well, kind of immigrants, and it was really hard for me to just accept that fact. So as I got older, when I was in high school, I was introduced to friends that were interested in K-pop and interested in K-dramas, and I had never listened to any of these things before I met these friends. I had no idea about what Korea culture or Korean pop culture was at all. And through these people, I had learned about Korea, but even then, I didn't know very much about Korea at all. I had no very, very few words that I knew from the language, maybe like 감사합니다 or 사랑해요, those kind of things, just things that you see on the internet. And I found groups that I like 17, and I thought their music was really great, but I was never really into the idea of moving to Korea. I never even considered the idea that I was gonna move to Korea. I just, I had some friends that liked K-pop and I would listen to it as well, and that was pretty much it. That was like the end of what it was. I never watched K-dramas. I never considered that I would be moving to Korea or even learning Korean. It was never something that I tried to do seriously. But then the pandemic happened, and so I was working really, really long hours in the pandemic, and I was going to university at the same time during the pandemic, and I was dealing with a lot of mental health issues. I was not in the best place, in the best state of mind, and I was really struggling with not only where I was living, but with who I was, with the kind of friendships that I was having, with so many things that was happening in my life at the time. And so I just wanted some kind of change, and I was really craving something, some kind of escape from reality. And even though that does not sound like a very responsible thing, and it wasn't, I was a 20-year-old at the time, I really believe that idea changed my life forever. Now that I'm living here, it really is something that I will always be grateful for in that time period. But At the moment, I don't think that I should have been doing that, but it happened. And so I originally came to Korea, and I was just gonna come for a little bit of time and vacation here for a bit and then go back to my home and continue doing what I was doing, graduate school and find a job, whatever it was. But I loved Korea. There is something here that just kept me here. And so I applied to language school, and then the language school, I kept on extending the language school. And then in that period, I got into a relationship. I made friends. I had things that were tying me here. So I wanted to get a job here. And throughout this whole time, people would ask me, you don't miss America, you don't miss your family, you don't miss your friends. And to be very honest, my family life has never been that strong. I never really had this sort of closeness, especially to my parents, that I felt like I need to be with them. And I think that comes a lot from my parents also moving away my father went to the military, and my mother is from Hungary, Germany, and then moved to America at a very young age, 18 years old. So I never had the feeling that they were going to miss me, and I never thought that I would miss them. We weren't very close. I wasn't, it feels bad to say because now I have a good relationship with my parents because I've made the effort to do that, but I did not have a very good relationship with my parents growing up, and I think that's okay. I think it's okay to recognize and to realize, and if my parents are watching this, I hope that you can understand that there is not hard feelings now, but at the moment, I just never felt like I needed to stay for them and for my family and for my friends. And so I didn't have anything tying me back home. I mean, my friendships were there, but I never felt like I needed to go back for them. I didn't feel like I needed them, and I didn't feel like they needed me. Of course, friendships are great, but I wanted to prioritize myself, and I wanted to do what was right for me. So I stayed here longer. I thought that this life was the best for me, and it turned out to be right. I love living here, and there's so many reasons as to why living here is just right for me. Not only are there so many opportunities for me to explore here, but I have learned the language, and I have truly fallen in love with Korean, the language Korean, and I have been able to speak it on a daily basis and really learn so much of the culture through the language of Korean. And I think that is a huge plus for me, as well as being in relationships and having friendships that have been able to enrich my experience while living in Korea. I think that is another very special thing that I have always been very grateful for. And as well as jobs, I have been able to do everything on my own. I have found interviews, and I have done the language school, everything I paid for myself. Nothing my family has supported me with, nothing I have had Korean people help me with getting jobs. I have done everything on my own. It is very possible for you to do this kind of thing on your own. I had money before I came to Korea, but that's because I was working part-time jobs that was basically full-time because they were so many hours during COVID. But I saved up a lot of money before coming to Korea. I didn't come without any money. I came with enough money to be able to live here. But then I got a job, and now I have a dog, and now I have a full life here, and I don't want to go back. There is nothing for me back in America. There's nothing except for my family, and my family, as much as I love them, if they are watching this, I love you so much. But if there's people here watching that really love their family, maybe they can't understand what it means to not have a closeness to their family, but it is something that I didn't have the chance to have a closeness in my family, and I think that's unfortunate. I think I would have loved to be able to have a closeness with my parents, and since I don't have that, and I don't really have anything for me back home, everything that I have here in my life is in Korea, and everything, my future, everything, my investments, my relationships, everything is now in Korea. Something that was pointed out to me recently that I think is really interesting is that a majority of my adult life now has been lived in Korea. I came to Korea when I was 21, and I'm now 25. I don't have any plans on going back anytime soon. I feel very fortunate for the position I'm in, and I want to continue to invest in this life. I want to continue to live here and be my best self living here. I mean, there's so many things that I could keep talking about, like the conveniences of living here, such as I don't have to drive, or that the food is much healthier, or that exercising, I can walk everywhere I want. I can't really do that in America. There's so many things that go behind me wanting to stay to live here, and I've made videos about that in the past, but if you're watching this and you're in a position where you want to move to Korea, or you want to move abroad anywhere, I hope that you know that it is very possible, if you're very young or if you are in your 20s, 30s, whatever it is, wherever you are in life, if you really want to do something and if it really feels like the right choice for you, I don't want you to feel like you should have things holding you back. I don't think it's for everyone. I think it can be very difficult to live in another country, especially if you have a very close connection to your family or you love your country, whatever it is, it can be very difficult to live abroad. And I don't want to make light of that. It can be very difficult, but I would find it more difficult to go back to America now, knowing that I have so many great things and a great life here. That's why I don't have any plans on going back to America, and I hope that makes sense. Whenever people ask me why I came to Korea, it's really hard to say one thing. A lot of the times people want to hear an answer like, you came because you love K-pop, or you came because you love Korean food, or you came because you love Korean language. But I feel like my answer is a little bit more in-depth and a little bit more convoluted. There's a lot more going on behind than just one reason. I came for a variety of a long list of reasons, and I stayed for an even longer list. So most of my videos are showing Korea, showing Korean, showing life here. Maybe my mind will change. I don't think so, but maybe it will. So if you want to see more videos about life in Korea, I hope you subscribe. I hope you like the video. I hope you make a comment and tell me about things that you want to see living in Korea. I hope to make a community here on this channel. That's my biggest goal, is to make a group of people that can watch and learn about Korean life from the lens of someone that has been living here for a while. Because I know a lot of Korean creators make videos and then they make things from the perspective of a Korean person. But sometimes it's nice to get the perspective of somebody that had no idea what they were getting themselves into and now is doing their best to live as best as they can for themselves and for their community. But anyway, I hope to see you next time, and thank you for watching. Goodbye. Man, it is so hot. I gotta go inside.